Guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Stella on DearStellaTV. Today, it's another truth-telling session. I want to talk about how your career can strain your marriage and how your marriage can strain your career and the lie of career in marriage and having an office romance. What a big mistake. 4 topics, but they are all linked. I just decided to use like different titles. It's for married people especially, but those who are aspiring to get married, those who are dating, they will also benefit from it. Look, so I did a video on TikTok. If you're not on TikTok, please download the app. TikTok is not paying me. I'm just saying that I have a lot of short videos there, and I did a video and it got a lot of engagement. And the video was about how explain this to me. Am I old school? I was asking if I'm old school, that if a married woman or a married man goes out with the opposite sex in maybe for a lunch date as a work colleague, would you or would you not mention it to your husband or to your wife? I would, and I would never go out on a lunch date with a male colleague. What are we talking about as a married woman? God forbid. What are we talking about that we can't talk about during office hours? Do you understand? And a married man, some people said, no, they will never do that. That is wrong. It doesn't make sense and all that, right? So some people agree. Of course, this life, everyone is different. But a married man told me that. What am I talking about? That abroad in Europe, that they do this a lot, you know? They go out with work colleagues, and he goes out with female work colleagues. I said, okay. I said, number one, I've worked in UK. I live in the UK. I've worked in the UK. I never did it, but I'm not saying you can't do it. I'm saying when you do it, would you mention it to your husband or to her? Sometimes I ask thought-provoking questions to make you think, because sometimes we make unconscious decisions in marriage that hurts our marriage. I want people to think of the kind of decisions they make. That is why I ask all these questions. Not really for me. What's my business? Sometimes you think common sense is common, but it isn't. Anyway, so this guy said, he's a married man. He said, oh yes. So I now said, he said, maybe I worked in a one-man business. I said, no, I worked in multinational, Oga, and I never did it. So it's a choice. Number one, marriage is a choice. Every decision you make can either harm your marriage or make it good. It's your choice. You choose to go out as a married man with a female colleague. I, as a married man, can choose to go out with a male colleague or a female colleague. My question is, why on earth would I, as a married woman, go out with a male colleague? As what? What are we discussing? That we cannot discuss in the office and during office hours. I have interpersonal relationships with my... Look, this question is very personal to me. Like every topic I do. What are we discussing? That I have interpersonal relationship with all my colleagues that are men, but I will not single one out to go out. Why will I do that now? And then, do you know why this topic is sensitive? He said that it's not everything you mention, that he didn't mention it to his, he doesn't mention it to his wife, that those work lunches is just to get to know the female colleagues. I said, work is okay. So I did some mathematics. I said 24 hours in a day. If you are lucky, you do 8 hours. Most people don't do 8 hours abroad. Some people do 12, some people do 10, some people do 9, right? Some people do 11. So those are long hours. So let's take average of 9 hours in a day that you go to work, that you are working. Then maybe another 1 hour for commute, average, because most people do more than that. So let's say 10 hours in a day out of 24 hours. How many hours remaining? 14. Those remaining 14 hours, let us deduct the hours you used to sleep. Let us say you don't sleep much, you do 7 hours or 8 hours out of 14, right? The remaining 6 hours, 14 minus 8 hours of sleep, or 7 hours or 6 hours. That is all that is left in this life. If you are married and you have children, you will dedicate some of it to the children. You know, ask them, you know, what they ate today, so they will take maybe another 2 hours. So you are left to maybe, by the time you do it, you have like 3-4 hours with your wife every single day, right? That you actually see to talk. Sometimes you don't even have that. That is luxury. 3 to 4 hours in a day is luxury. Maybe that's the maximum if both of you are working, or one is working and one is at home. Okay. Now you have 3-4 hours in a day with your wife. That means work takes more than maybe 70 to 80% of your time and of your life. So it's the biggest consumer of your time. Why is it that everything that happens in that your life at work cannot be discussed with your husband or your wife? Now, if you exclude, he said, do you know what he asked me? The married man said, my wife does not know my colleagues. He doesn't need to know them personally. I don't work in my husband's office, but I know everybody that works. Why? Because we talk about them at home. We gossip about his colleagues. When I was working in multinational, we gossip about my colleagues. Yes. When I come home, I will give him gist, or even over the phone. My husband will call me over the phone and tell me, hey, you know this person? Oh, I will even call the person's name. He says, oh, you know the person? Yes. We will laugh about it. We gossip, we gist, we talk about the work colleagues as if I know them. But I don't know. I've never met them, right? Sometimes he's never met my work colleagues those days. But we talk about them because it's a big part of your life. They annoy you. All those things they do that annoy you, all those things they do that irritate you, all those things that they do that makes you happy, all those things that they do that they are nice to you, you will tell your wife, you will tell your husband. That is why your wife or your husband is your gisting partner. Now, if you marry somebody that you exclude from your work, from 80% of you, that means 80% of your life, your wife or your husband is not a part of. What kind of marriage is that? What kind of marriage is that? Look, what is the purpose of work? They will tell you that the purpose of work is to earn money, right? Is to give you purpose, sense of purpose. Yes, like doctors, even cleaners. It gives you a sense of purpose, nurses, anybody, any work you do. Maybe it's your passion, so it makes you happy. It gives you self-fulfillment. Cultural, so it gives you social connection, networking, all sorts. Fine. That is all well and good. But when you get married, you said, I want to build my life with this person. I want to, share my life with this person. If you say, I want to share my life with this person, but 80% of your life, which is your career, which is your work, you don't share it with your husband or your wife, what else are you sharing? Children? So go and show me those marriages that all they talk about is children. I will tell you a marriage that is built not to last. If there is a large part of your life that you will not, maybe you are hugging it to yourself that my wife, I don't know the kind of wife or husband you married, that you feel will not understand, even if you are the CEO of a financial company. Your responsibility is to break down the work that you do. I'm saying no matter how specialized your work is, no matter how complicated your work is, your job is to break it down as simple as possible to the wife you married or to the husband you married, so that they can share in the joy, in the frustration, in the happiness, in the peace, in the glorious days, and in the annoying days of your work. That is how they will support you. They will help you. Not just you come home, you say, you have meaningless conversations. Hey, how are you? I'm fine. As soon as your wife says she's fine or the husband says he's fine, you feel as if you have finished for today, because after all, I've asked him to fulfill all righteousness. And then you go on to do more important things like sleeping. Or you go away and do more important things like eating. As soon as your wife serves you the food, you eat. And what do? You go, you say, I'm going to bed. What kind of marriage is that? What kind of marriage is that? So if your wife is ready, like for example, let's say you marry a nurse, or you marry like me, a quality manager, whatever, any job, your cleaning job, any job your wife does, she's ready. After a full day, she's ready to talk to you about it. She's ready to tell you the people that annoyed her, the people that made her happy, or something that happened, anything that happened. And guess what? When you come back, you say you are busy. That, you just eat. After eating, you go. Today, she has things to tell you. She didn't tell you because you're not there to listen. And then the one that happened in your office, you took a woman out for lunch, maybe to discuss, I don't know, accounting, marketing, digital, whatever it is that you're doing that you think is so important. You discuss it and you come home and you don't discuss it with your wife. That is how office romance starts. Prevention is better than cure. You people don't understand that when you are married, there are roles and responsibilities, there are duties. It's not just to be called husband. You are husband, but you leave yourself wide open to have an affair. You take a work colleague, a female work colleague. What you are discussing cannot be discussed in presence of other people. It's so important and so private. She's not your client. She's not your customer. She's your colleague. Your relationship with your colleague is so important that you price it above your marriage, right? So you go today, you go and discuss in a cafe. Tomorrow you book another restaurant. It's not something it becomes a habit to the point that it's something you look forward to. It's something you are excited about. That when you get home, you quickly want to go and sleep so that the night can be quickly shortened so that you can go to work tomorrow and have another lunch date with her. You have totally sidelined your wife. You have totally sidelined your marriage. But you're not thinking consciously about it. It's not a decision you make consciously. It's a decision that creeps upon you day by day, slowly by slowly. That's why I'm very passionate about it. Because that married man that said it, he clearly didn't do some counseling. He clearly didn't think. I'm going to tell you more. So today he goes for a lunch, hubby. Meanwhile, the wife is observing that this man is just, he doesn't have time to even discuss my work. He doesn't tell me about what happens at work. She begins to feel more like a stranger in her marriage. She has not done anything wrong. It is because her husband has decided to put his career above his marriage. And then he begins to be able, the more you do it, if it's a one-off, it's okay, but it's not a one-off. It becomes a habit. The woman too, maybe she's single, maybe she's married. She becomes to also use you as an outlet. You people begin to exchange heart-to-heart talks. Soon enough, you are discussing your wife with the woman outside, your colleague at work. Lord have mercy. Or you are beginning to discuss your husband with your colleague. Your husband that when you get home, or your wife that you get home, you are not talking to them, you are not telling them about your work, your 80% that takes up 80% of your time. But you happily discuss your wife soon, because the minute you do it, it becomes a habit. The person becomes your friend. It becomes your work wife or your work husband. You people know what I'm talking about. Soon you are discussing your wife at home, the one you paid money for, bride price, the one you put a ring for, the one who has the license at home. You begin to discuss her or him with the other one. Before you know it, you are emotionally fulfilled because you have somebody who listens to you. She listens, but you don't, and you listen to her, but you don't do that with the madam at home. You don't talk to her about your work so that she understands, so that she supports you. You will now tell me that she's very disrespectful, she's this, she's that. I don't care what reason you have. As you make your bed, so you will lie on it. Before you know it, madam, the woman at home or the man at home begins to feel less and less important to you. He begins to notice that my husband is different or my wife is different. You come home, you pretend to be upset so that nobody will ask you what happened today, or so that I will not tell you, she will not tell you, or he will not tell you what has happened. So you begin to keep that distance. Soon enough, your wife or your husband begins to realize that this person is not my friend. It doesn't even give me the time to discuss, to talk about what's going on with me. 1 week turns to 1 month. 1 month turns to 3 months. 3 months turns to 6 months. Before you know it, both of you are comfortable. She or he starts to look outside too for a friend, because we are social human beings. We need somebody to talk to confide in, to laugh with. They begin to laugh with somebody else. They will start looking for. One day your wife steps out of the house. I don't know where she's going, market, shopping, wherever, and somebody says, "Hello, beautiful." the woman is dazed. She's never heard that. She's not heard that in 1 year. Her husband has not told her that she's beautiful in 1 year. She begins to tap her hair like this. She begins to feel good and warm and fuzzy on the inside. That is how people have affairs. But guess what? Who pushed her into it? She too has a responsibility to her marriage. But she too, she starts to look elsewhere, because after all, she can't kill herself now. The one she has at home has turned her into a statue, into a trophy. Do you understand? Now, so that is how office affairs starts. The biggest mistake of your life. Because before you know it, you're having a full-blown affair. When your wife or your husband finds out, you are blessed if your marriage isn't ended. All because you went for one lunch date that turned into many more lunch dates that turned into a full-blown affair. Now, your career is supposed to be a blessing to your marriage, not a curse. But when you do something like that, when you don't share 80% of your life with your husband or your wife, you are losing the biggest chance to build a life together with the person you said you swore to be, your life partner. And that time you've lost, you will hardly ever recover it. So that is how your career can strain your marriage. Something that is supposed to be a blessing becomes a curse. Look at many people who are highly successful. Some of them, a lot of them, have unhappy homes or they are divorced. Why? Because they prioritize their career over their marriage. And guess what? One day, when the madam leaves, when the wife or the husband divorces them, they lose their job. Then you know that he never raised but pours. And then you realize that had I known he's the brother of Mr. Late, like my father says, before you know it, the marriage is gone. The career that you put and prized over your marriage is also gone. Everything swept from under your feet. And you are thinking to yourself, because the person will be like, well, you didn't share your life with me. If you like, share the money, but you need to share your time. You need to share your work. You need to share your work colleagues, their stories with your husband or your wife. That's how you build a hope. Not just, I pay the bills. If you pay the bills, any man on the street can pay the bill. That doesn't make you a husband. If you actually don't share your life, your joys, your happiness, your frustrations, laughter, be vulnerable. If your wife knows you are upset because of work, it's a good thing. It makes you vulnerable. It makes you build that connection with your husband or your wife. That is what you are losing when you don't do it. So your career becomes like a lie. You put it like a smoke screen, and before you know it, there's nothing left. So I pray that today this will provoke your thought to the decisions you make. If you go out on a long day, if you have the heart to do it and the mind to do it, and what you are really discussing is important and valuable, discuss it with your husband or your wife when you get home. Do it. Sometimes we need our husband, our wife to straighten our thoughts, because sometimes you might just be like tunnel vision. You are not really thinking of the implications. And then when your husband, your wife points out the dangers of it, then you will know. The way your marriage can destroy your career is if you have a husband or a wife who is controlling and refuses to support you in your work. That is how your marriage can destroy your career. And if you are somebody who is passionate about your career, this is what I really want to do. Maybe you are a doctor, maybe you are a nurse, maybe you are whatever it is you're doing. You expect and you need your husband or your wife to support you, so that when you come home, you can share your stories with them. But if your husband or your wife doesn't support you, they're jealous of you, maybe they're jealous of your success, maybe they're threatened by your success. Yes, some husband or wives are threatened by their wife or their husband's success, or they're jealous of it, they're envious of it. Maybe they feel it should have been me. Why is it him? Why is it her? That's so unfortunate. That tells you the kind of heart that you have. That heart needs Jesus. Invite Jesus into your heart today and say, God, take away this envy. Today is Easter Sunday. Jesus Christ is risen. Say, Jesus, risen Lord, take away this envy that I feel, this competitive spirit I feel with my husband or my wife, this jealousy, spirit of jealousy, uproot it from my heart, rebuke it in Jesus' name, bind it with iron chains and fetters, cast it into the abyss, and set me free, and let me love my husband or wife Let me support them in their chosen career. Let me help them build it. So that they can become the person you created them to be. This is my prayer for you. This is my prayer for me. I ask you this, Lord, in Jesus' name. Until next time, guys. It's like 22 minutes. I hope I have addressed everything. No, run away from office romance. And it starts from the little things. It starts from your everyday decision. Make sure, try not to go on a date. A lunch date can become a dinner date, or a brunch date, or a breakfast date. Don't have dates with male colleagues. Include other people in it so that it's not just one-on-one. That's how Satan works. But you have to also give him the platform to work. So don't blame him. You have to be careful of every decision you make so that it blesses your marriage and not harms it. May your career be a blessing to your marriage. May your career be a blessing to your husband or your wife in Jesus' name. Until your next time, is your girl Stella on DearStellaTV. Like this video, share it, subscribe to it. You subscribe to my channel. I have so many topics I really want to talk about. And I'll bring you more videos. And I have 41 romance novels on Amazon. Please get them. They're best-selling, you know. Get them, read them. They are such a blessing. They're a package of both faith, journeys that lead to happy ever after. But sometimes you can actually relate because they're very relatable stories. Most times they're about stories I've heard or, you know, happened. If sometimes a part of me is there, part of my husband is there, but you'll never know. All wrapped in fiction. So God bless you and have a blessed time. Bye.